Today's card is this cute, clean and simple style "Good luck in your new home" card. It's got a printed base and printed sentiment, and then it's got a die cut circle with partial embossing, which I'll show you how to do in this tutorial. And then in the center is this cute little house with 3 little love hearts coming out of the chimney and little pearls stuck on them. I need to just finish that off now with the center. And basically these are the supplies I use: double-sided tape, there's a couple of circular nesting dies, my ruler and my scalpel, and I used this embossing folder which I stuck this piece of thick card onto to hold it in place, basically to do the partial embossing, which I will explain. Some normal PVA glue, bone folder, a couple of different sets of tweezers, some erasers to clean off some gunk that I managed to put on while I was doing it, and this cute little house die set. I'm not sure where I got this from, but it is super cute, fits together like that, and it's got an opening door that you can fold back if you want to. So that's today's project. If you're interested on how I did it, stay tuned. Okay, let's get started. So first of all, I've actually printed this card. I want it to be very simple. I'm making a clean and simple card. So I've got this "Good luck in your new home" already printed on a piece of stamping card. I have a Canon printer, which has a straight through feed, which is good, so you can print on relatively heavy card. While I was there, I actually created another "Congratulations on the birth of your new baby boy," which is for another project. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut this out. Now I put these grey lines on as guidelines for cutting. They won't actually be on the card, but they just help me cut it. Just put that on one side. Right, so I'm just going to work my way around. I could do this on my guillotine, but I'm just doing it here on my desk just for easiness. And then you can see I've also got 2 printed internal outlines as well in a matching grey, same as the text, ties the whole thing together. And I do sometimes like these clean and simple cards. It's a slightly different style, not as busy. Some card makers hate it, others don't mind it. I quite like to dabble in lots of different styles. So there we go. There's our card base, which is quite a nice, simple page, simple sentiment. I'm just going to take my bone folder and go around the edges of that. Whenever you cut, it's always good to use a bone folder and just go around the edges. It just flattens any paper or card that's lifted slightly because it's been cut with a scalpel. All helps the card look more professional. Right, now the plan on this one, I've got this rather cute little die set of a house with 3 little hearts, and typically you put the hearts coming out the chimney. So what I've done is I've already cut this, and I've actually cut 2 copies. So that's one little set, and here is the other. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to double mount them just for a little bit of extra width, basically. And there's the hearts as well. So I've got 2 sets of everything, basically. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to put one of those houses in the middle. I'm going to cut a hole in the middle of my card. So the hole will be here, and then the house will sit in that hole. There'll be a white backing underneath. It's all very subtle, white on white. It's clean and simple card making. But then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this black circle of thick card that I've cut out, which is going to partially emboss that base. So there will be hearts just in that circular area, not in this area, around the hole, and then the house in the middle. So this is partial embossing as well, which is a little bit of a technique. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stick my houses together, actually. So I'm going to use my tweezers, and the first thing I'm going to do is just poke out all these windows and doors. This is a cute die set. Don't ask me where I got it from. I honestly can't remember. I've had it a long while. but it's been used a lot for new home cards. It's absolutely perfect for that. Super cute. But yeah, it's really quite useful. Just gonna get rid of all these bits. And I noticed these ones aren't cut too well actually, so I'm gonna have to just cut them slightly. If ever this happens, just follow the lines of the actual die, because even if it's not cut out properly, you can usually see it kind of embosses where it should have cut. So there we go. And if you pull, always pull on the back, because that way if you get any slight tears in the paper, it'll be on the back. I'm not too concerned about this because obviously I'm dual layering this anyway, and it's going to be white on a white background, so you're never really going to notice anything. There we go. So I shall use that as the bottom layer, and I've got some just basic PVA glue here, and I'm just going to, once it actually appears, it could be stuck actually because I haven't made a card for a while. Okay, let's see now. There we go. Just dot around. You don't need to put loads of glue. Try and get some glue in any kind of key points. If you've got doors that open, etc. Try and get some in the middle. It'll just help when you align the two. Okay, and then stick that one straight on top. Just squeeze them together to make sure that's lined up. Give it a little rub over the back. You can see that has ripped there slightly, but as I say, it doesn't matter, it's the back. There we go, we've now got a bit more depth. And then what I'm going to do with the roof, because the roof kind of overlaps slightly, I'm going to put probably one behind and one in front, and that way I'll make a sandwich of the actual house. So, excuse me, I've got a bit of a sore throat at the moment, so you'll get me coughing and clearing my throat on here. This glue is a little bit stuck, I think. I find if you cut it from the back, that usually clears it up. Yeah, that's better now. Look, I'm getting a bit more out, which is good. So I'm just going to do that one and then the back of this one. But again, I'm only using a little bit. You don't need loads. I do see some people putting a ton of glue down. It's really not necessary. So I'm going to stick that down. Just get it roughly even. And then pop this one on the top. Again, pick that up. Just check it's in the right place. I'm just going to pull it up a little bit. I don't want it on top of the windows. There we go, it looks relatively even. That's fine. Okay. The reason for doing that first, I get a little bit of a shadow behind actually, which is quite good though, because it makes it a little bit more 3D. So that's fine. And then I'm just gonna do the hearts as well, might as well. And I think actually that heart goes with that one. Yeah, they are some slightly different shapes. So I need to get the glue off the front of that one, which I've just done wrong. Which I will do just with my finger. That'll dry clear anyway. So set that on one side, just let them dry. this one goes with that one. And then just one of those. These are difficult to pick up. And then finally, again, that's the 3 little hearts done. It's quite interesting actually. Single colour card making is quite interesting. It's kind of a different set of challenges because you have to think this is all only going to be one colour. So that's where it is quite key to add a little bit more maybe texture and a little bit more thought. So I'm just going to give that glue a little wipe there. Okay, now we can start looking at our centerpiece. Now what I'm going to do, because I don't want to screw this up, I'm going to actually use some blue tape, which I have on my little wall here. So I've just got a little bit of blue tape, which I'm going to rip in half, and then I'm probably just going to eyeball this, to be honest. How many is that? 3, 6, 9, 10, 11. So that middle, I think that's probably the middle. And always stick your tape inside, just in case it does accidentally rip any card when you take it off, although this is the good stuff. Okay, I'm going to use my die cutting machine, and I'm first of all going to cut the circle out, just using normal process. My sandwich is thick plate on the bottom, and then I will put my die and paper face down, and then I've got the clear or the cloudy plate, and then the rubber shim, and then the clear plate on the top. Just rearranged my craft room actually over Christmas, and I've now got my Gemini under my desk, which is quite an odd place to put it, but it actually works out quite well. I can just push it forward on a little table and pull it back as I need to. Right, there we go. So there we go. We've cut our card, and you can see that tape does come off quite well. It doesn't really tend to do anything it shouldn't. But I'm always a little bit cautious just in case. Right, so I've now got a little circle I can use in another project. And then, before I go any further, I'm now going to do the partial embossing. So how do we do that? What we do, and this is going to be the tricky bit, we need to now center this over that, which is going to be interesting. But what we need to do, we need to put this, first of all, into our embossing folder. Now this one is just a hearts one. God knows where I got that from. Again, I've had it ages. Basically, you put your project into the embossing folder, and then what you do is you lay whatever shape it is you're doing on the outside, and you make a sandwich. Put it through your die cutter, but you don't do it in the traditional way that you do normally. So I think left and right is okay, top and bottom is the challenge. So that looks like that's about right. So it needs to be just under that center row. So I think that's probably about the right place for it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reuse my tape just to hold it in place. Now what you'll find when you do this is that you don't need all of your different plates. Quite often you only actually need, for instance, the thin one. So I'm going to try that first and just see whether that does it or not. You'll know when you put it through the machine. If you feel it take hold, Yeah, kind of. But I'm not absolutely convinced. So what you do is add another layer. So I'm going to add this plastic layer and just do that again. Helps if you put the plastic layer on the top. That sounds better. Hear the difference? That means it's biting, and that means we should get the impression we need. All I did was flip the rubber and the clear. Let's have a look. So if we open that now, yes, you can see. I mean, we've got quite a nasty line there, which is a bit annoying. We might be able to push that out through the back, but you can see we've got kind of a partial embossing around that central hole. That will kind of do us for the moment. I don't quite know how I've ended up with a line there. That's rather weird, but I'm wondering if I can actually just smooth that out from the back. Just using my bone folder, just going over it very gently. That's a bit better, but you can still see it. It's a little bit annoying. But I don't think it's that bad. I mean, it is noticeable, but I'll carry on anyway. Okay, so that is our look. Right, I've got now here a piece of scrap card. What I'm going to do is do this as a matte layer that sits underneath, because I want to give it a little bit of height and a little bit of weight. So I'm going to take my double-sided tape and I'm going to just tape around the edges. And I'm going to just put this down as a layer. Because I need a white, I want white with a white background. So put that down, and then I'm also just going to put a few little bits just close to the edge. I don't want it lifting. And obviously this has a right way up, which we need to be careful of. Okay. Using my tweezers, I'm just going to actually take them all off because we're not doing anything precise. I keep a plastic tub next to me here on my desk, and all of my scraps of paper as I'm working go into that tub for recycling. Right, there we go. So just make sure you've got a decent clean piece of paper. With scrap, it's always worth double checking. Okay, and what I'm going to do is get quite tight in there. Just eyeballing that. And then, because we haven't cut that, we then just need to match roughly that width by cutting it ourselves, which we can just do eyeballing it. I'm a great believer in the eyeball. And this will create a nice matte layer on our card. Which should still, hopefully, fit our 6-inch card blank that I've got here sitting next to me. Let's just check that out. I didn't actually think about this because that might be a bit large. Yeah, it is. I'm going to have to cut that down a bit. Yeah, I forgot about that. When I print those bits, they are quite large already, so that's too big now. So actually, change your mind. I'm going to have to cut that down. So I'm actually going to cut it back to the original layer, but it just means it'll have more height, which is not a bad thing. Remember, no mistakes in card making, just decisions that we make along the way. That's in the wrong place. That's in the right place. I don't think that is cut perfectly. Go a little bit. It's a bit better. Still not quite perfect. Made a mess of that. But I'm probably going to chuck this in the bin anyway because I don't like that line. But I'll carry on with it so that you guys can see what it looks like. Okay, so now cut that down, it will fit on there. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, just go over the edges with my bone folder. But what we've got now, obviously, is backing for the hole, which we didn't have previously. Now, what you could do if you wanted is you could actually put a little bit of grey ink around the edge here, dragging out. Obviously, you do it before you put this in, dragging out just to accent those hearts and give them a little bit of texture and a little bit of 3D. But I don't want to do that in this instance. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stick my house and my hearts into the middle now. And again, I'm just going to eyeball that. I want it fairly low. I'm not putting any ground. I'm not grounding it on anything. I just want it sort of symbolic. And I'm not putting any colour behind it as well. When I use this set normally, I'd perhaps put some yellow or something behind it just to symbolise the house and light coming from rooms, but I'm not going to do that either. I just want to keep it really, really simple. So I need to give this glue a proper wash out. It's definitely not happy. Now I could mount this up on foam pads actually, but I think it will probably look all right as it is because we've got the circle that kind of draws the attention. And that will give it a bit of 3D anyway. Right, how's that look? It's pretty much in the right place. Just using the lines on my cutting mat just to look at it and see if it's in pretty much the right place. Using a clean bit of kitchen towel just to press down on it. Obviously don't use the side that's got all the ink from previous colouring. Waste not, want not. There we go. And you can see that gives you, even without that being mounted up, oh God, I'm having a really good day here. Now I've got something on there, I don't know what that is, glue or something. It gives you a kind of 3D effect. I'm just using a glue eraser to get rid of that. I don't even know what that was. Oh dear. This is really not a good card. That might have been something on the kitchen towel, which is a bit annoying. Actually got rid of most of it. There you go. Okay, so that, and then basically we will now add our 3 little hearts. Obviously make sure you stick the back, because the top has got a beveled edge that points down. And I find it helps if you hold down with the tweezers or you glue, because it stops it lifting up to meet the glue. And typically I put the big heart one right next to the chimney, then the little one floating away like smoke out of the chimney, and then the tiny little one just a little bit further away. I'm actually just going to use a clean bit of kitchen towel this time. Well, that was relatively clean. Yeah, just press those down. And that's our main design done. So now I'm going to actually fix it onto the card front. This is annoying, this line. That means, unfortunately for me, that wouldn't pass quality control and I wouldn't sell it on my Etsy store. But it's not terrible, but for me, that would stop me selling it because it's just not perfect. So I'm going to now stick that down. So this is the old bunny ears technique. Thank you, Natasha Foote. Ever in your debt. And basically we put tape around the edge and then a piece in the middle, and we fold back so that it gives us little bunny ears that hang over the edge of the card, and we can then use that to stick it down, pulling away using those little bunny ears once we've got the placement correct. So check your card, always just have a look at your card blank, make sure it's okay, and then lay down your project and just align it using your eye. We've actually got a slightly wonky edge there as well, so this one is definitely not going to go on my Etsy store. There we go. We could add, if we wanted to, for a little extra interest. I'm just looking through my stash of gems here. Maybe, I'm thinking tiny pearl, which I thought I had some here somewhere. Yeah, here we go. So I've got some tiny little pearls. These are in a strip, unfortunately, so you have to cut them. Get rid of the glue. And what I would typically do with these is I would stick one on each of the hearts. In fact, I might not stick one on that one because it's quite large. Actually, I'm going to remember, you can always wiggle them to get them into the right places. There we go. There's our card done. So you can see you've got that partial embossing, which is quite nice. Please ignore my horrible scratch line. I don't quite know how I did that. And you've got the double printed line that we did on our printer before we started. You can see you get tiny little shadow of the hearts kind of around the edge, which is quite nice. And basically, our good luck in your new home sentiment, and then the cute little house all in white, which creates quite a nice classy card. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. Please forgive my mistakes, and if you did, please maybe check out my other videos, like and subscribe. You'll find there are technique videos there where I just show you how to do things, and then there are card making videos where I show you how to then make those things into cards. But there are lots of different techniques and styles on there, sort of from clean and simple to inky ones, stamping ones, colouring ones, etc. Anyway, thanks. Hope you enjoyed that, and I'll catch you next time.